I know we saw that some in the season where you'd have what seemed to be routine catches that were dropped, but yet they had these remarkable diving catches. You walk me through that process in terms of how do you coach the guys with that? How have they improved? What's the key to eliminating some of those drops this year?
I mean, just attention to detail, seeing the ball in, seeing yourself. I tell them quick tuck it. We'll do a drill that we call words of blanks, with the football, seeing themselves put it away, and then just extra stuff after practice, whether or not that's jugs, 100 jugs, tennis balls, those type of things. And, I mean, after a while, if you drop them, you'll see them run off the field because somebody else is coming in. We had some spectacular catches, and we had some ones you're like, okay, how did you drop it? I mean, they're going to happen. You just don't want them to happen, at a great rate during games. So just, now they're, back here doing some stuff so that, they're catching balls on the jug machine and, just doing the things that they know to do that they've been doing since they were 5, 6 years old when they decided to play football. Seeing yourself put the ball away, trusting your eyes, trusting your hands, and catching the ball. I mean, because they're all not going to be perfect. So that's just, following the ball all the way to the tucks.
And with the COVID pandemic kind of eliminating spring ball for everybody, how big of a concern is that for you with that chemistry between quarterback and wide receivers, or the fact that you've got all your guys pretty much back that helps to alleviate some of those concerns?
I mean, I think it helps to alleviate some of it. Sam's a guy that, throws a great catchable ball. The chemistry that he's had, it's not like we're breaking in. We have some freshmen here, but we're not breaking in a lot of new guys. So the chemistry that he's already made with Diami and Bo and Daz and, Toe and those guys, I think once we're able to get back out on the field with them, it'll just pick right back up. That's what I'm hoping.
Thanks.
Thank you, Greg. All right, Kiara, you're up.
Hi, Coach. I recently spoke with J.J. Jones, and he discussed at length about you guys' recruitment process and how you've been kind of recruiting him for over a year. But towards the end, he stated that you stopped recruiting him as an athlete and started recruiting him as a person and wanted to.
Hey, Kiara, let me just bump you there. Our coaches aren't allowed to discuss unsigned players.
Okay. Never mind. Okay, well, I'll say this. Just talk a little bit about how you want to know a player for more than what he is as an athlete.
I can answer that, right, Jeremy?
Yep.
At this level, when we're watching kids and recruiting kids, if we offer them a scholarship, then, I mean, obviously they know we want them. We're very interested in them. So, I mean, it gets to the point to where, okay, how many football questions can you talk to them about? And you want them to feel comfortable with you because, as a position coach, I mean, the guys that I'm recruiting, I mean, they're going to be with me most of the time. So, I mean, I need them to be able to trust me. And then what I tell them that, it's my job as a coach to earn your trust and not just, I mean, you hear a lot of people say, hey, you can trust me. Well, they don't really know you. So, just trying to build that foundation from, hey, coach, what are you doing? Nothing. What are you doing? Nothing. I'm just calling. Okay. And, and having that open line of communication with them. So, I mean, it's just building that trust to where they can talk to you about everything and anything. And you want to know, what kind of kid they are. I mean, and, they want to know now with all the social media and all those things that, that go on, they feel like they can sit down and talk to somebody that, because at the end of the day, it's not really about, it's not just football. I mean, there's so much stuff going on and, that they would like to discuss that they might not talk with their parents about. And, you want them to have the understanding that, they can call you and talk to you about just about anything.
Good, Kiara. Sammy, we're headed over to you. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Yeah, Lonnie, I was just wondering, where would you like to see the most progress when you guys get back onto the field for an Emory Simmons? And what role do you kind of see him playing with such a veteran receiving core?
Emory came in and, the thing that he does, he comes in and does everything you ask him to do. He tries to do it. He enrolled early. The thing for me was just, building confidence that when he goes into the game that he will know exactly what to do. That trust factor, I don't care how talented you are. I mean, we have to trust you that when you get out there on the field that, that there's not going to be a drop off. And, I've told him, and Coach Longa and I've spoke, Emory's a kid that, we got to get on the field. He plays, on the same side as Diami, but, we'd like to get it to where if Diami's playing or any of them are playing, where they played 85 plays, to get it to 65 plays, 70 plays to where, they're fresh in the fourth quarter. And, Emory's will be counted on to be able to come in and do those things. And, it's one of those things for me. If he's competing and he's hot, they stay in. So I mean, Emory's a huge factor in what's we're trying to do with this upcoming season.
Yeah, Lonnie, just quickly too, does he get any advantage having been Sam Howell's roommate last year?
Sam threw him a touchdown and he thought it was Diami, so that was his first touchdown against Mercer. But Sam's going to get the ball to the guys that are open, the ones that he can trust. And that's the thing about being a quarterback. You throw the ball to the guys that if they are covered sometimes, and you have that trust factor in your guys that they're going to make plays, you'll sometimes force it. I mean, not really force it, but yeah, I guess force it to them. And Emory and Sam have a great chemistry. They're living together again, so that is a bonus to know what the starting quarterback's thinking.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Emory knows what he's doing. He's a smart kid. Ross, you're up. Go ahead, unmute yourself.
Hey, Coach. I know you spoke a little about recruiting already with the offensive skill players you have and personal recruiting, but have there been any challenges to recruiting at North Carolina? And then after that, what has been really good about recruiting at Carolina? Because you've been at Louisville, West Virginia, Wake Forest. What advantages have you seen in the last two cycles about UNC recruiting that's great and has helped you?
Being here with Coach Brown, I mean, that's a huge factor. Obviously, the University of North Carolina sells itself academically. It's a great university that's a public university, but with I would say, Ivy League education. The facilities, the tradition. You can go out and ask young guys, where did Lawrence Taylor go to school? And some of them will know, some of them don't know that he went to North Carolina. So, I mean, the tradition here is great. I mean, and having, Coach Brown as a leader for us, he's on top of the recruiting. I mean, he gets involved. I mean, there's, he understands what drives a major program, and that's recruiting. I mean, you have to have players, and he's very involved, with us on that. And Chapel Hill's it's a beautiful day outside. I mean, it's a great place to recruit to.
Coach Brown's very involved. Are there any examples or anything you can point to of how he is involved in civic recruiting battles or whatever competitions?
I mean, just his winning as, active coach. I mean, he's won a national championship. He's been through up and down seasons. Every player, for the most part, that I've come in contact with that he's coached, he can pick up the phone and help them once they leave. We tell them it's a 40-year decision, not a 4-year. I mean, and the thing that Coach, with them coming back, take care of the players, all right, and win football games. I mean, and that's the thing. It's pleasant to be able to come in here to go to work because of as our head coach, what he wants to do. We know what we want to do, from his leadership once we get here when involved, recruiting part.
Thank you.
All right, next up we got Jared. Jared, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. Andrew mentioned at the top how Daz and Diami have kind of gotten more recognition this offseason, but still maybe not on the level of somebody like Rashad Bateman from Minnesota, Jalen Waddle from Alabama. In that regards, I was wondering if you think from a nationwide perspective, should people be talking more about those two, or are you content with your wide receiver room being one of the better kept secrets in college football?
I mean, I've told them, because I mean, they'll put stuff out on Twitter, they'll put stuff out on Instagram themselves sometimes, and then you'll see something where they're, top 5 there, or Dad was number 2 or 1 or something. But that's all in the past. Now we got to rewrite it, and after the season, we'll see what happens. And they're both hungry and want to compete, and they all want to have that opportunity to go to the next level. But it's what they do from now on, not what they did on the past. And I'm not really worried about what people are saying about them. I will say that in each game that we play, the 12 games that we got, if we get to play all 12, they will know where those two are on the field.
Thank you, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Jared. James, you're up.
Hey, Coach. When we talked to Coach Longo back in April, he said that you guys told Antoine Green at the end of last season pretty emphatically that you need to get stronger, and that he kind of taken those words to heart. Just kind of, how do you see that, leading up before everybody went off campus, and how have you kind of maybe continued to see that or hear from that?
I mean, AG came by, and I saw him the other day. He looks great. I mean, he's 6'3". I think he's 210, somewhere in there. But the thing for him is, you're a very, very skilled football player, and the injury he had 2 years ago, and sort of dealing with getting over that. I mean, and obviously, a lower extremity that had happened to him 2 years ago, and getting himself back. And, when Antoine was playing 2 years ago, I mean, they were talking about Antoine. They weren't talking about Diami. So, I mean, the level, the skill set is there. Mentally, that's the part where, we talk to him the most. I mean, prepared to go out, and I mean, and he seemed to be. I mean, every conversation I had while they were home, and things like that has been, hey, be ready to go. I mean, we don't care. I don't care. Coach Longer doesn't care who's catching the ball, but the work habits of it, and talking with him yesterday, he is ready to compete. I mean, and that's the best thing about my room. The ones that compete are going to play.
Good, Pat?
Yes, thanks, Coach.
Cool. Landon, you're up.
Hello, Coach. If you could compare Daz and Diami to two receivers you've coached in the past, who would they be and why?
Daz, I would say, is more Campanaro, who I had at Wake Forest. A little bit of, I don't like to compare too many people to Tavon, but a little bit of the shiftiness. Daz is dangerous when he gets the ball in his hand. Runs good routes, like Campanaro did, like I had at Wake. Diami's just his Mario Offer was a kid I had at West Virginia that was, tremendously fast, and Chris Gibbons, who I had at Wake. I really don't like to put that stuff on them, because, I mean, for me to say that, there's some similarity to them. I mean, Diami with some of those guys. Chris Gibbons was a guy about his size that could run, that, was, first team All ACC at Wake. So those are a couple of the guys that I would say they're alike.
And then a follow-up question that I had is, how do you balance, getting them prepared to play on the field at Carolina, but also getting them ready for the pros?
Everything that we do, receiver-wise, is all the drills and stuff that, most of the NFL teams do. My job here my job with those guys right now is to win football games for the University of North Carolina. And hopefully, as a team, through what they do, to help us win games, it projects them to a higher level of, being able to play in the NFL. But, just route running and those type of things and releases and all those things that they will have to do at the next level. So, I tell them, you score a lot of touchdowns, NFL guys, they want guys that can score touchdowns at that position. So, the more touchdowns you score, the better chance you got to make it to the league.
That's all I had.
Thanks, Landon. Ross, you're up.
Coach, you've named a lot of players already that are expected to be big-time players next year. Daz Diami and Bo a little bit, and Antoine Green. Beyond those guys, could you kind of get into maybe the players behind them and what you expect depth chart-wise from your wide receivers?
Right now going into it, I mean, it's Diami, Daz, Bo, Antoine, Toe Groves hadn't said much about Toe, but 4th and 17, and Sam threw the ball to Toe. So Toe is definitely a kid that'll be in that rotation with Emory. And then, the freshman guys that we got, I know a little bit about them. Hadn't been able to do anything with them out on the field. But, Josh Downs is an electric football player. Stephen Gosnell is a good football player. Tylee Craft, Justin Olson, didn't get much work last year up on our end, but, he looks good. So, I mean, there's a lot of things to where, with the competition, I mean, if they want to play, it's who's going to be the backups? I don't know. I'd like to have 6 to 7 guys to be able to play. So Diami ain't playing 85 snaps, sort of like how Bo and AG played last year, being able to, the Bo play, cut a couple balls. I was like, AG, it's your turn. You go in, and Antoine had 3 or 4 catches. So, and if you're hot, you stay in. And, I tell him, starting the game, would you rather start the game and play 5 plays or finish the game and end up with, a lot of plays? So, it's a good room. They all respect each other, but they all want to play and out on the field is compete. So, that role player, who that's going to be, is going to be, a lot of work, because, if somebody's outworking somebody else doing practice, just because you started last year doesn't mean you're going to start this year.
Yeah, and I mean, I know a lot of people are excited about Josh Downs. I know you haven't seen him in practice, but what do you like about him just based on tape and what you've heard from 1 or 2 months of strength conditioning?
I mean, just his quickness, very intelligent player when, we were here before, because he enrolled early. Very intelligent, very strong, change of direction, work habits, very confident, can run, catches the ball very well. So, I mean, I'm excited. I'm excited to see, him get out there. I mean, and just like, with Gosnell, I mean, you look at him, I knew he could, I was like, who is that, coach? I was like, y'all just wait and see. He's all the freshmen, we got good freshman class coming in. But
great, thanks.